Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
Hey, it's Funk Roberts here, and welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. This is episode number 91. And if you first tuning in here, my name is Funk Roberts. I'm a former professional athlete turned a certified master metabolic trainer, online fitness expert, and also an expert and known around the world as a guy who helps men in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s get in the best shape of their lives, literally change lives through mindset, recovery, sleep, nutrition, workouts, supplementation, and overall health, naturally increasing your testosterone levels. And today I'm really excited. Today is a very special podcast episode because you are not only going to learn about the Godfather of metabolic training, metabolic conditioning, metabolic training, but you're also going to meet my Yoda, I guess, the lineage of and the person responsible really for where I am today in regards to knowing the knowledge that I have with the type of workouts that you guys are either doing or have seen me done, or I've seen them on YouTube. It's really, I'm really excited to have BJ Gaddour. Now, if you've that name, BJ Gaddour, you may know him or may spark a little, that name sounds familiar. Well, if you've read Men's Health, if you've been on Men's Health social media page at any time over the last 8 years, then you've definitely seen BJ Gaddour. You've seen him. He's been the face of Men's Health for many years in the past. He literally was hired to help Men's Health grow online, and definitely did. But more so, you've definitely seen his face, and when he logs in, when you see this episode, you'll notice him. But the other thing that's, I think, really most important to me for having him on is because I actually got my certification, my metabolic conditioning certification, from BJ. BJ had a metabolic certification course in 2012. So going all the way back to 2012 is when I when I got my certification and started implementing those type of workouts right away. And BJ, I call him the Godfather of metabolic conditioning and metabolic training because there was no metabolic training. It was like circuit training was the only thing, specifically back in 2012. And there was no one that he really took it from. He literally created it, right? Created the protocols. He created the exercise selection process, which is what I learned in the certification course. And a lot of people always ask me, "Hey, Funk, or they don't ask, they always comment the same thing. Man, the way you put those workouts together, the way you put the exercises together, like that I've never had workouts like that. I get that all the time. And that's because my lineage, I learned from BJ, I learned from that certification, exactly why you put certain exercises where you put. The exercise selection is the most important part, because a lot of that, and that's where a lot of regular personal trainers, regular trainers, and that's really why you don't want to be following influencers if you're trying to get into shape. Influencers are great out there. I don't hate on them, but they're not trainers, right? And even if they go and get a certification so they can have a certified trainer, the only time that you see that influencer is through a screen, right? They haven't done the work. They haven't actually trained people. There's a lot that goes into it, not just putting music on and just doing a workout. And so that's why my workouts work. That's why my workouts are always get results. That's why people love the workouts, but it's because of the way BJ has taught me in the past. And so you're going to learn a lot about that, when I first started to connect with BJ, it was probably 2009 or even 2008, with some of the stuff that he's done. He's always been an innovator when it comes to training, workouts, apps, everything. It's incredible. And it's no wonder that he, Men's Health trusted him as, the head of online fitness and at Men's Health. And, again, going back to the metabolic certification course, I took it, and then they I guess they pulled it or whatever, the partner that he was with. So I had to create my own metabolic certification course, which thousands and thousands of trainers and coaches out there have been certified. And yeah, it's really exciting. And I'm really excited for you to meet BJ, and you will see and hear specific things that I've said to you if you've done my workouts, or if you've done my certification, or if you've learned from me. You'll know now where it comes from. It's not something that I kind of made up. I've always talked about BJ being the person I've learned from. And so today I'm excited for you guys to meet and to listen to the Godfather. This is it. Like when the Hall of Fame comes up, he's first ballot, specifically the Fitness Hall of Fame, because he really created something that will live on forever, because I think it's the most effective type of workout, specifically as we get older. And so I hope you guys really enjoy this. Check out Men's Health, past Men's Health, not current, but past Men's Health, and check out BJ Gaddour. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. I'm not even going to promote anything. I just want you guys to really listen and see and pay homage and give the flowers to guys. And the funny thing is, he's 13 years younger than I am. So he's now turning 40. So be excited, because as he's turning 40, he's got a lot coming in the future for everybody. And who knows, maybe there's a collab coming up. Anyways, episode 91, the Godfather of Metabolic Conditioning, BJ Gaddour. Let's get it done. We are live, and welcome to today's podcast. This is an absolutely incredibly special podcast, because when you talk about people who have inspired you, that's one thing. When you talk about people who have, who kind of like you've looked up to and, just kind of watch them go through their journey, that's another thing. But when you're talking about a person who is almost responsible for just the path I took in the fitness industry and the way I continued to watch, learn, listen, and a lot of this he probably doesn't know, because the person I'm about to talk about, I 100% will say today on this podcast, is the Godfather of metabolic conditioning, Godfather of metabolic resistance training, metabolic conditioning. There's no one on the planet who epitomizes that through the training, through the workouts, through the information that he shared over the years, and just my journey. Because if you've ever done any of my workouts, the person I'm about to introduce is almost responsible for giving me that knowledge in creating and executing. So today I'm really excited to introduce BJ Gaddour, Men's Health King. BJ Gaddour, how you doing, brother? And thank you for being here.
Dude, I am fantastic. It's been awesome to see your rise, what you're doing on YouTube, and how you're inspiring all these men over 40 years old. I turn 40 in a couple of days at the time of recording this. So I'm hoping you give me some tips, because I want to look like you when I get to your age, man. You're very inspiring.
Well, you continue to inspire me, because a lot of the things we're going to talk about is, really, I'm going to throw in nuggets of how you entered my life. But for people who don't know who you are, why don't you give us kind of like an origin story of who BJ Gaddour is and what you've done in the industry?
Sure, man. The long story short, I grew up a fat kid, but I was an athlete. I played football. I was a lineman, and being big was supposed to be helpful for that position. It was, but I had a lot of injuries. So I really got into fitness. I was 22. I was having my fourth knee surgery, and my playing career ended early. My senior year as a captain of the football team at Amherst College. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was a double major in economics and sociology. And I'm like, you know what? Every day I wake up and I think about working out. So maybe I need to go that direction. And, that's basically where it all started for me. I started training students and professors at school. And what I did, I went from basically a powerlifting, get big, get strong at all costs background to finally to be like, I want to get abs. And that's where my kind of journey into the metabolic conditioning protocol started, trying to get shredded and get those abs for the first time as a fat kid, and also help people overcome injuries. So that's the trajectory. And I was able to work my way up the ladder, and I was the fitness director for Men's Health magazine for a couple of years. And then I decided to go out on my own for the last 5 years and kind of just do my own thing again. Cause, you know, I'm sure you're probably the same way. Like, I don't like too many chefs in the kitchen. I got a certain way of doing things. And, you know, I just want to live an authentic life and share my knowledge authentically and not have to worry about too many people getting involved in the process. So, you know, that's kind of the long story short. I think one thing I'll say, you know, I got into this just to be a trainer, a coach, but now we got to be these content creators who know how to do video and audio. And so there's a lot of things I don't like about what I do, but I do love the lifestyle it's allowed for, man. I'm sure you can relate.
100%. And the one thing I loved about you too was you were authentic in every way when you could be. Like when I was first introduced to you, well, I will get to that, but you were so you. Like I could tell, like, oh, he's not like the regular, you know, this is the box you need to fit in as a fitness trainer. You're doing your thing. You're talking your way. The way you explain things was amazing as well. And the way you coached and the coaching tips I loved, but you were you. Like literally, you were you. I could see when you were you, and I can see when, okay, well, wait, if I think you just kind of, obviously, you know, when you're working for a bigger corporation, you have to stay within the lines. You're like, you know what, get out. This is not who you are. You still crushed it though. Like you were still you, which was amazing.
Yeah, you know, man, I've really struggled with this because I've never really found, I have not yet been able to really translate my full personality through a screen yet. Like I'm like in person, everybody who meets me says I've got great energy. You know, I am a nice guy. I really am. And I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm very polite. And for some reason, I've struggled to develop an online persona. And I've also struggled to deal with this authenticity versus like what makes sense for business. Because when I became too authentic, you know, you don't get as much business opportunities. And so what I've tried to do, and what a lot of people initially liked about my approach was that kind of vanilla Men's Health style, like just give people useful stuff every day that makes them a better man today. So I've kind of gone back to that as of recent because, you know, the reality is from a business standpoint, if you're not adding value to people's lives on a daily basis, they're probably not going to take action for themselves. They're probably not going to get involved with what you're offering. And education is what pays. Entertainment, I mean, we got to be entertaining, but at the end of the day, we're coaches. It's physical education. We're the new gym coach, right? So that's what I try to keep, you know, as I'm aging, you know, in the wisdom years, I guess, what we might lose in raw physicality, we gain between the ears. So that's what I'm trying to focus on now. And maybe I can find a way to reincorporate a little more humor and stuff like that. But you know, what's funny too, man, like these are not really funny times. You know, I think a lot of people, what I noticed is I was expecting like a big boom in my business when the pandemic went down because, you know, you're stuck at home. But our business took the biggest hit it's taken since I started. We lost about half of our members. A lot of people, I think, were approaching 40, like elder millennial age, maybe had some kids or lost their job and were stuck at home and they just got burnt out with everything. So fitness was like an afterthought. So some people, like, sadly, I think they may never get back into that active lifestyle again. And what we're trying to do now is fight to reactivate those people and get them back into the game. I don't know how it was for you, but like I was really, last year was the worst year for our business since we started. And so it was humbling, but it would force us to look inside and, you know, find better ways to reach people and communicate and everything like that. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry for what happened to your business, but of course you always rise, which is another reason why I love you. But for me, you know, I did the opposite. I was I shoot a demo and then here's the workout demo exercises. And then let me talk over the demo. But I realized it's like, that's too, like, people will see a demo. And of course, I'm only shooting 10 seconds of an exercise. So you're going to get the best funk in 10 seconds. But I was getting sick of that. And I decided when the pandemic happened, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do follow along workouts. And I'm putting them on YouTube and I'm going to struggle because I'm actually doing the workout and I'm talking and I'm coaching just like you've done in the past. And I decided you either are with me or you're not. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to coach you through out. And that was great for me because I just went out. No one was doing follow alongs at that time. No one was doing follow alongs with coaching. Everyone was after people started to see that was working, you would see, you put the follow along workout on and then there's just music and the person just works out, which again, to me, there's no connection. I want to connect, right? I want to connect with whoever's listening. I don't care if you don't like me. If you don't like me, then this isn't for you, but I'm going to fart. I'm going to swear. I'm going to burp. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to cry. I'm going to be like, follow Angela, which is my wife. I think your wife's name's Angela too, right?
No, Stanley.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, yeah. So I'm just like, and everyone loved it. Like literally, if you looked at my YouTube comments, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm just going to be it's easy for me now because I just go, okay, today this is a workout. I'm doing it for the first time. So I may struggle, but it just allows me to be who I am. I don't have to hide anything. I don't have to, you know what I mean? And that connection with really helped. And I saw you were doing a lot of that stuff as well.
Oh man, dude, well, I'm glad it worked for you because I invested, thousands of dollars in a live video crew that came. We did a weekly like DVD experience. And after a year of doing it, we lost YouTube subscribers. I couldn't believe it. Like it blew my mind because I was giving exactly what people had always wanted. And that actually was, there was a culmination of facts that really put me into the biggest depression of my life last year. The business got hurt. We had some loss in the family. And then I was like, I got to build this YouTube channel because I believe YouTube is the best place to make an impact with people, right? You can go deep and it's like, it's a consistent thing. Like you usually get what you put in, whereas the other places like the algorithms change. And so after putting in all that effort, time, money, resource, and seeing like we lost people, and then a lot of my paying members at my site quit because they could get the free workout. It was, look, I've learned a lot from it. And the people that attended though, that's what you have to focus on. The people that attended, control what you can, right? Really enjoyed it. It lives forever. And I kind of had to find a new strategy, but I've got to get back to that because like you said, what people have always told me is they like the off the cuff, quote unquote, BJ, like you said, whether it is farting, burping, or just saying maybe some that's what's scary too. Now, man, you can get canceled quick.
Yeah.
So, so I respect anyone. Look, I respect people that know their stuff, look the part, but I have a special respect for people like you that can go on camera and train live. And because no one understands how difficult it is to coach, motivate, entertain, and do these workouts. Even if you regress them a little bit or use lighter weights, it doesn't matter, man. It wipes you out. The hardest stuff I've ever done has been on camera training.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. 100%. That's why. And I have a membership and my members will be like, after 5 months in the membership or 6 months, they'll be like, Funk, we don't train with you anymore. We train Angela. Cause sometimes Angela's a beast. Like my wife's a beast. So, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what should happen. It's the first time I'm doing the workout. You're going to do it 3 other times and you're going through the phases. So yeah, you better be crushing me by the 6th month or the 3rd time you do the workout. You're not going to crush Angela, but and so that understanding for them is really good. And for me, it's exactly what I want to do, right? It's exactly what we wanted.
And you know what? It's what I did like about it is it's done when it's done. There's no post-production. I don't think people realize what I will say is because I kind of invested more time into Instagram and Facebook coming up because that's where like all the men's health stuff was going on. They didn't really have much of a YouTube presence. But man, the YouTubers today, like some of these guys make their own videos and there's like animations and there's like, you can see their muscles appear on the screen digitally. It's like, man, it's tough competition. So that's why, again, like the fact that you've been able to break through the noise and you've been so consistent. That's why I have so much respect for what you've done, man. It's tough. YouTube is tough.
It is. YouTube is tough. And that's why I have the membership because YouTube for me, it's just a vehicle to continue to put information out, but the membership is where it's at. But okay, so let's back up now. So for me, first time I met you was Workout Muse. So talk to us about Workout Muse. Did you create that? Was that your, like, what was behind that?
Well, I started that company because I had read, I was a trainer. I started doing in-person one-on-one stuff. Then I evolved into kind of community and corporate fitness boot camps. And boot camps were like the craze around 2008 because the recession hits, people are struggling financially. And then you can get, personal training for much less in a group. So that blew up. And I was able to capitalize on that. And what we did was all this metabolic circuit training stuff, right? And what became difficult was, how can I coach someone and not have to look at the clock to time things out? So we made these interval training soundtracks. So yeah, I found a sound designer on Craigslist. I read the book 4 Hour Work Week because I was like, how do I want to try to scale my business more. And he talks about, the Muse, finding your muse to make money online. I was like, you know what? We're going to do Workout Muse. And that was those interval soundtracks. And that got me started in the industry because it was actually through trainers. It was a way to help trainers execute and become better coaches and automate their group exercise workouts. But it also was great for people, just consumers, to just listen. And, we actually had one of the first apps out back in the day that had you can mix your music to the intervals. And we no longer offer that just because people think, you don't make money on apps unless it's like the app in a given category. But people still tell me that they have an iPhone 2 that they have not updated so they can use the old app. Because it was the best one. They really liked it and unique voice and everything. But yeah, that's how we got into it, man. And I think, was it the Spartacus soundtrack? There was like a special men's health workout or something. Is that how you first found out about it?
15 metabolic circuit. You will alternate between 30 seconds of work and 30 seconds of rest for each exercise in the following.
So yes, so Workout Muse was something I started following because just like you said. So here's the other thing about BJ is that you were always one step ahead. I don't know if you realize this because before the Gym Boss, it was Workout Muse. You had all of the soundtracks, 45-15, 60-15, 30-30, 40-20. And so you could put the track behind, but then you also had the workouts. So that was the first time I was introduced into your ecosystem and I loved it. And your workouts were just legendary. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. Those are the type of workouts that actually transform my body. Because when I was 39, I was suffering from low testosterone, depression. I was addicted to drugs because I had masked my manhood because the girl that I was with had left me because I wasn't having sex because I didn't know that was my testosterone levels that were low. And that led me down to strip joints and, after hours and all of that stuff. And it was a gong show until I realized that it was testosterone. And then my doctor was like, oh, do you want to go on testosterone replacement therapy? I'm like, no, I'm going to dig deep and see how I can naturally do this. And your workouts were some of the ones I started because it's metabolic training, total body training as you get older, right? That's what works for us, men, as we get older. So that was perfect. And that led to me going, okay, these are my workouts right here. And I was also fighting too. So perfect for fighters, perfect for me as I was getting older.
Yeah, no, what's so crazy is, you mentioned 39. 39 is a tough age, man. That every time you close out a decade, there's a lot of self-reflection. But it's really it's that midlife crisis, right? Like you've lived longer than Jesus. And technically, you're lucky to be here, but you're like, wow, this is what's next? And honestly, I just got burnt out. I've been doing fitness for so long and I lost my passion for it. I tried to reconnect with it over this past year. But what's so interesting as you get with guys, right? Guys, we can't let the ego go. Mm-hmm. It all starts with impressing. You're trying to impress whoever you're attracted to, right? And let me lift heavy weights. And really what you end up doing, you might impress guys, but the guys that lift to get women, they don't care. And what ends up happening to your body in terms of breaking your body down and, you're chasing load, and when you chase load, you always lose because A, there's always someone stronger, and B, it's just going to wear your body down. And with metabolic conditioning, the only knock on it is that, you're going to lose absolute raw total strength. You're not going to be a 500-pound squatter, but what you lose maybe there, you gain in every other category, right? Mm-hmm. Stamina, endurance, mobility, metabolic conditioning, all that stuff. You bulletproof your body. And it's also, you can do it fast. You can get these workouts done in 20 minutes. And that's the thing, man. When you approach this tender age, I just don't have the time to be I'm going to do a 1 hour arms workout. I wish I had the time to give my arms 1 hour of love. I used to do calf work, and now it's like I just want to sneak it in vain, right? I think you probably have high calves too. You know what it's like.
100%. Yeah, totally.
All they do is they rise higher when you build them up. They basically become part of the knee. But that's the thing about it, man. It's really they're tough though. That's the thing about it. They're tough. A lot of guys, they rather just do a set, rest 3 minutes and go again. So mentally, the mental training component is where a lot of men struggle with Metcon. But once they can buy into it, they see the results, it becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely 100%. And that's why I loved it, because I was able to parlay that into the fight world, right? Because fighters were still doing buys and tries, back and shoulders. I'm like, dude, you're training for fight, whether it's MMA, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu. You don't have time to sit here and do, when are you going to use bicep curls in a Muay Thai fight? Well, maybe clinching, but you know what I mean? Like your time to train for your strength and conditioning is so little that you can't, and you have so many attributes that this is the perfect type of training, specifically if you put the right workouts in. But I'm just a quick question. How did you even learn about metabolic training? Like, I know it's been around forever, circuit training, but how did you kind of like get into that?
You know, I've got one guy was doing some cool stuff with it. Coach Dose.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Social media. I came out of college, and again, I got the Cscs certification. I'm not a big fan of certifications in general because they're really just, it's a scheme to get you to commit to annual fee. And I didn't use really anything from it. Not that the information was bad, but it doesn't teach you how to be a good coach or how to program design. And so I'm kind of, I guess I'll say this, I'm kind of a fitness savant. Like I have an ability to see things in my head and sequence things and build things. My dad has an engineer's mind, and I might have some of that I can apply to physical fitness. So it really just came through experimenting, trying a bunch of different things. And what was so great is when I had a boot camp in Milwaukee, and we'd have hundreds of people coming through all walks of life, like 20 to 60, thin, big, everything in between fitness levels. So I had to find a way to make workouts that like could hit the lowest common denominator, meaning that anyone could do it at the same time. So it was basically just like a lab of running through routines. And then some routines were more popular than others. And I would literally be testing whatever went great, we would make a soundtrack for, and it became part of that. So it really was just, I had a lot of people coming through, and I got a lot of live feedback. I could see how it looked. And that's one thing too. Like we have a lot of people coming in now that may have never trained someone. I'm not saying you can't be a good trainer without having trained people, but I will say there's a unique advantage that you have when you have trained people directly, because, there's a disconnect that happens when you do things through a screen. You're interpreting my movements now, right? Like, and I've had people send me their form, and they think they're doing things perfect. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not there with them. Like if I was there with you, whatever you wanted to do, we can accomplish, as long as you're committed to the other 23 hours of the day the right way. But online, we just have to hope for the best, and that's one thing. Like I constantly push myself to improve my form and technique, my mobility. Right, that's the most important thing for all of us: mobility, range of motion. Size, strength, that's great. But, at the end of the day, mobility is what allows us to enjoy the second half of our lives. So, and then if you can do things with good form, people are more likely to interpret the movement better, right? So I take a lot of pride in that as well. Trying to, like, just like you, I try to look the part. I stay lean year round, but yeah, it was a lot of experimentation. I was also I was young, I had a lot of energy, and I was obsessed. I'm not like that anymore. And I think it's good because, I'm more perspective. Like this can be taken away from you in a heartbeat. One of my best buddies, it was a dog, and he was hanging out in the other room, and he died. His heart stopped. And that due to change my brain chemistry. I went on I became almost suicidal at one point. And so it was a really good check in perspective. Fitness is important, but it's one thing, right? And that's really But at the same time, I wish I had that same energy and obsession I had when I was young, because man, I was hyper focused like the Terminator on trying to become like the best in the business and all this stuff. And now like it's difficult for me to get up to make content. I've never had this problem before, but I've just had to refocus my motivation, and I'm reconnecting with it. And it's dude, there's ebbs and flows to all of this. And that's the thing. You just got to stay in the game. You've stayed in the game a long time. Right. Yeah. And I try to do the same thing. And I think if you keep showing up, eventually you're the last person left in the room.
Totally. Man, you said so much there that was incredible. Number one, I knew you were the person, as far as I'm concerned, who really created and revolutionized this type of training. Because the one thing I always admire about you is, and about your workouts, is the way you're able to put the exercises together. I made that a massive mission of mine, to ensure that they made sense, that it wasn't just, I'm going to throw 10 exercises or 6 exercises in and the flow doesn't flow right. The muscle groups or the movement or any of that, are you putting in a bit of isometrics, a bit of mobility? Like you're so incredible at creating that can't be taught. And although you did teach me, because you are, this is
Metcon cert.
This is the certification that I took, and when you said you're able to, because I did a boot camp, so I'm literally mirroring everything, because you did the certification. I did the certification, got certified. It was huge because I learned so much. I was able to take that and literally harness, like I did boot camps. And yes, you're totally right. There's so many people there, but when I do boot camps, I'm literally walking around the whole time. I'm coaching the whole time, touching, coaching, regressing, progressing, which is what I learned in your certification. Like you can't, and I used to do retreats in Thailand. And I remember this one, we're doing a workout. It was a lunge. And, I watched the woman do the lunge, and I'm like, no. And I was touching her and making sure that she did it properly. At the end of that workout, she goes, you know what? I've been doing lunges for 5 years. I've been going to this boot camp, Brenda Johnson's boot camp, for 5 years. And this is the first time I've ever felt what I'm supposed to feel doing the lunge. Because Brenda just stands up on stage and goes, okay, let's go, guys, let's go. And I always tell trainers, no, you should be sweating just as much as the people doing the workout. You need to be there. You need to be correcting, and yes, of course, motivating, rah-rahing, but that's all part of the process when you're doing that. And I learned that from you, because even in this freaking certification, you had, okay, I want Paul, get up here and show me how to do this. You had them interacting and doing things, which still to this day, no one does in certifications the way you did it. And man, it makes sense. It made sense. It's incredible.
I appreciate it, man. I tried to, my focus on that was templates, right? Because that's what we need. We need the ability, skeletons, stuff that you can basically add the meat to. You add your own sauce to it, but you have a framework with which you can deliver great workouts. And so I try to give like my favorite templates. And, that was 2012. Expand. I mean, yes. I probably have to make another version of that because I know they discontinued that product. I partnered with someone else to fulfill that. But I mean, the number of templates I've developed since are mind blowing. I also had kind of Metcon was, Metcon's great for fat loss, and you'll gain some functional muscle mass. But I developed a whole system of what's called metabolic bodybuilding, that's basically you see the gorilla with the unicorn horn.
I know.
It's called Gorilla Corn Gains, and it's really it's like metabolic conditioning in that like there's a lot of nonstop situations, but instead of alternating non-competitive movements, you start to
build up like
competitive exercise and keep, send the blood to one area and really challenge the fibers in a way that makes light loads feel heavy. Because again, that's what we, when you get to this age, the juice is not worth the squeeze with traditional bodybuilding, right? You don't have the time to dedicate to one body part. You also don't have the recovery ability. So you've got to find ways to get the most out of in 2021, I basically just used 25-pound dumbbells. I was like, let me challenge my loading discipline. Let me find a way to challenge myself every day with just these weights. And man, like what I was able to get in terms of improved form and technique, and finally develop some mind muscle connections in areas that I had never been able to because the load was too heavy. That's been a game changer too. And so basically I've got these metabolic conditioning and metabolic bodybuilding, and they can be married, or you can do one for a phase, another for a phase. I've got you're giving me motivation to hear the impact it had. That means a lot, man. Cause I sometimes you don't know. I mean, I can see it, but like, to hear that it resonated with you so much means a lot to me.
It resonated so much that in 2013 or 2014, I was using metabolic training so much that, and I was building a trainer list, and everyone would come to me and say, can I get a funk certification? I'm like, no, I'm going to reach out to Pat Rigsby, because I think you did this with Pat Rigsby.
Yeah.
And Pat's like, no, that's not available anymore. So I created one. I created my own certification. I just kind of took what I did and I put it on Nesta with, Nesta, and thousands of trainers have done it. So you need to,
that's fantastic.
You need to do one. You need to, because that was a million years ago, mine too. You need to upgrade. You need to do one. So I'm going to challenge you to get another cert, because that type of training, here's the other thing. Metabolic training is what men and women, as far as I'm concerned, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, need to use, along with, of course, when you're in your 60s and 70s, it's not the shredded or whatever. It's, I want to be more mobile. I want to have injuries. But the amount of lives that I've changed the over 48 Alpha, the brotherhood, we watch these guys come in and then they just want to lose weight, right? They're just coming in online. They would just want to lose weight. Funk, I'm never going to have abs. I don't want your abs. I'm not going to have abs. After phase 4, how do I get those abs? Yes, the nutrition, whatever. And then now it's phase 12. And then I've got 36 phases. That's 3 years of metabolic training, different styles of training, different protocol, and they love it because it's short, it's challenging, and it's easier on our body. You only work 3 to 4 days a week, and then you have the mobility. I put mobility in there. But so that type of training is actually needed more than ever. And there's a lot of, I don't hate on anybody who teaches or does any type of fitness specific. I don't hate on influencers. I don't hate on them at all. The people who know me know how I feel about it, but I don't hate on them because they're doing something. But they're not trainers. They're just looking good, putting the music on and whatever, and then they're putting whatever together, which is great. But we need BJ to get out there as well, because the amount of people who can use this is way bigger than the amount of people who are going to be using bodybuilding, because of course, the bodybuilding training. But as you get older, 35, 36, shit's got to change. Testosterone doesn't relate well to the old school bodybuilding type of training. It's too long, too much cortisol. Like you said, we don't recover. You start getting injured. It's the short end for a guy. The feeling of coming out of those, you're on the ground. It's like, fuck.
Oh yeah,
hard. And then you get up, you're like, yeah. You rip your shirt off. Like it is so invigorating when you can get through those workouts. We need you, man.
It is. Seriously. Well, I have this vision of of like this ultimate book that I'll release at some point. And one thing that this is just to be honest, what happened is my writing muscles got weak because we got into the Instagram age and everything is so short and people weren't reading anymore. So I was like, I'm going to make this amazing book. And as I started to write it, I'm like, wow, like these writing muscles have atrophied. So what I started to do is take on smaller projects. I try to script every YouTube video now and turn it into an article, and they're building back up. But my first start is, as I'm about to turn 40, I'm like, I'm going to make this the top 40 fit over 40 exercises. So it's this compilation video. I've never put so much into a single video. There's going to be ebook that's free that comes with it. And it's just a way to, I'm getting these muscles strong again. And I thought, like, what a great way to celebrate my birthday is let's help people. Because again, what's so amazing, Funk, is like there's what we exchange in raw physicality, we can gain in wisdom, right? And as I dive so hard into breathing, recovery techniques, like the amount of recovery stuff I do, like I'm looking over at my couch right now in the living room. There's Normatex just waiting for me on an incline ramp so I can get my legs drained. I've got stim devices. I've got vibrating heating pads. I've got a pool and a hot tub that I do contrast therapy. So there you go, man. Like when I'm not, I try to it's all recovery at this point. So anything I can do to get that edge. So what I'm finding is my performance has actually increased with age because I never looked at recovery until I needed to, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't look at it until you have to. So if you're listening and you're like 30 or 25 or 20, couple things, evolve your training as early as possible. Don't wait till your joints give out. Evolve now, because the reality is the sooner you make the switch, the better it's going to be for you. And the more you can build upon that foundation. And then, man, recovery is everything, because we live in a society where the stress is high. And, that's really it's the space right now where there's the most opportunity for people, because people are in pain, and people are in pain. The number of things you see about, pain pills, or get this wrap for your knee or your elbow or your shoulder. So we really have a responsibility to get people out of pain. And once you get out of pain, then all this other stuff is accessible. But until we get people out of pain, they see you doing, I just saw your YouTube short of these insane burpees.
Way back in the day.
It's like people see it, and it's like people comment on some videos. My knees hurt just watching this. And it's sad because people want to move. I do believe people want to move. They're just trapped inside an overweight body or a body that's broken. So we got to keep doing the good work, get people back.
Yeah, 100%. And and also a over 40 program, the Gorilla Gains program needs to come out too, by the way. I'm challenging you on that one too. I've got a couple of challenges for you. You got to put that program together, a program that men and women, but I think, I just think, I'm biased, right? I serve men. That's who I serve. There's enough people out there serving women. There's not enough serving us guys. So
for sure. People tend to, I got 80% men, 20% women that follow me. And obviously we know gender is fluid, but the reality is people tend to replicate what they identify with.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So I do have a Gorilla Core and Gains program. We run it annually, but I've done what happens. I've done a bad job of marketing. I'm an excellent marketer. I don't, it's like with YouTube, right? You make a great video, you just want to send it out, and you expect you deserve, if you put in the work, you deserve views. You don't. You've got to do the title research. You got to get a killer thumbnail. And I've left that. You have trainers listening. I've left the marketing as an afterthought, and I've just focused on creating. And it should be the opposite. You got to start by making the title and the thumbnail first, if you will, right? You got to have the marketing plan in place, and you can't run out of steam once the project is done, because now the real work starts.
Right. And
you got to market and sell everything you create these days, because when you and I got started, there were 10 cats in the game.
Yeah.
Right? And there were 20, there were 50. And then now it's everyone, now we're competing against, I know you're a former pro athlete, but now you get retired NFL guys that are you know what? I'm going to extend my career for 20 years and get into fitness. Yeah. And they just look different.
Yeah, totally.
And this is how it works, man. It's all about the thumbnail and the screenshot. So the competition right now is so fierce that you got to just be at the top of your game, and you can't just make great content. You got to be an incredible marketer.
Yeah, or at least get a team anyway. Yeah, at least get a team. So the Spartacus workout. I'm going to backtrack because I think you did the Spartacus workout before the metabolic conditioning certification, or at least it was around the same time. But yeah, so when you I think you're the one that put out the Spartacus workout challenge. So Spartacus workout really was devised by the Cosgroves, I believe, right?
They designed it for a Men's Health article. And that's actually, I was like, let me make this track for free and I'll send it to Men's Health, and maybe this can get me connected with them. That was actually one of the things that initially connected me with the brand.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. And so the Spartacus workout, you put out the challenge. I accepted the challenge, and Dave Schmitz came first. I came second, thank goodness. But from that point on, I was like, okay, first of all, I love 10 workout challenges, 10 exercise circuits. I created the Spartacus workout, free workout challenge, which helped me get a lot of free emails. But I guess because at the same time, Men's Health was also probably wanting to do a Spartacus workout program themselves. I had the SpartacusWorkout.com, so I gave it over to them because I didn't want to, go into the courts. So they took that.
They made a DVD off of it. That's actually one of the best selling products.
Totally. And that workout is still to this day, those type of workouts, I call them Spartan workouts, but Spartacus workouts, whatever, are still, people love those 10 exercise circuits, whether it's 30, 30, 45, 15, 50, 10, 60, 15, like depending on the exercises. And that was the other thing that I learned from you is the way you put those exercises in makes a huge difference, right?
It's all about the flow. So exercise selection is paramount, right? Because you want to put people in positions of success, right? So for someone over 40, I like box squat jumps because you autocorrect your form and technique, you dissipate landing forces, easy to recover from, and it may not look as cool as doing, crazy jumps in free space, but you want movements that get a lot of miles. So, exercise selection is very important, but the way you sequence them is just as, if not more important. You call it flow, you call it whatever you want, because there's an exponential return when you know how to properly sequence movements. And we also have to make these are tough workouts. So if we can make them as fun and entertaining as possible, because people are very, you make a short video and I'm just trying to get people to watch 50% of this 30-second video.
I know.
Because our attention spans are gone. Yeah. So we have to be now even better at finding ways to keep people engaged. And the reality is if your workouts are boring, no matter how good they are in practice, people aren't going to stick with them. So there is this blend of entertainment and effectiveness you have to find. And when you have a good number of movements, workouts go by faster, and they're just more fun. And do you need 10 movements? No. Some of my favorite workouts are, I built up to lunging for 1 hour straight. And it transformed my wheels. Like my knees were so bad, I couldn't do a single lunge without pain, like wincing pain. And then I did an hour of walking lunges. I'm like, wow. So this is what I have here. This is where I'm different. And, but no one, I share that. It's like 5 people took me up on the lunge challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because what they'd rather do is 60 different lunge variations.
Right.
So we've got to find that balance of, structure and variety, and Metcon, allows you to be able to do that in a lot of ways, but variety is like the spice of life for people in fitness, right? Because you want to do this for a long time. It gets boring to do the same stuff over and over again.
But the variety is good too, because you have to learn how to move in different planes of motion. So you need to learn. You need to know how to do the 60 different lunge variations or what have you. You need to know how to do the 30 different kettlebell swings. All of those things you need to. And it's great because you're not doing the same thing over and over again. You're okay. Now I'm building up to this. Now I can do rotational swings. Oh wow! Because I've already mastered the kettlebell swing. I go on Instagram. I follow kettlebell people just because my wife is running our kettlebell side. And it's the same exercises over and over again it's just like the 7, like I do hardstyle kettlebell train. I think that's where your background as well.
Or the RKC stuff? Well,
yeah.
Strong first now, right?
Well, same, I think. Yeah. And so the what I see out there is like the same thing over and over again. So the good thing, again, from what I've learned, and also my wife too, is you want variations because you're going to build on that. You don't want to keep doing kettlebell swings. Yes, it's amazing, but you know how many different ways to do kettlebell swings are. You know how many different squat variations, how many different, movement variations, specifically with the kettlebell and with the dumbbell, and of course with your body weight. So for those of you who are listening, and people always say, man, the way you put the exercise together in your workouts is like no other. The reason why I know how to do that is because of BJ. That's the only reason. It's not something I came up with. It's something that I learned from you and how the importance of it. And so that's why, that's why I wanted to have you on here. So everyone can see exactly the lineage of the Yoda, who literally, not even a question.
I appreciate that, man. To touch on what you said too, so we if you got started in this, the bodybuilding craze of the 80s, aerobics, all this stuff, so from that time on, what people looked at as progression, it's all vertical, right? Mm-hmm. More weight equals results. But there's also horizontal progression. and really what we need as wide a base as possible. And if you look at the foundation, any engineering, architecture, whatever, right? The taller the building, the wider the base is required. So you can't go vertical and sustain it without a really wide base. I mean, every year I start with what we call origins, and we do 3 months of we go back to basics and do foundational stuff. We just try to widen that base a little bit, because you got to always reconnect with those original movements, even if you know how to do a bunch of different variations. Because if I can get a little more range of motion on my scapula at the top of the push-up, right, that might unlock some more chest growth that I'm missing, that your body might be shutting down, because it's like, I can't let you go there because you're going to get injured. So, and the same thing, if you can do push-ups 30 plus ways, that's not only going to unlock different, aspects to the movement, but you have more fun with it. And it's not just about doing, trying to get from 30 to 31 push-ups, right? I'm going to try to do a more advanced push-up. I'm going to try to go in a different plane of motion. So again, that a trainer has skill when they can find a way to make the same weight feel heavier, right? And that's why you're so good at what you do, is you know how to go wide with people. Because also people like, you see what I have in the background here. I mean, this is like the classic home gym. We got some med balls. We got a couple kettlebells. I've got a pair of 10s, a pair of 25s, a pair of 50s, a pull-up and dip bar, and we're good, man. That's all we need to make a serious change. And if you have the knowledge, there's no, we don't have enough time on this earth to show you all the options, right? But if all you know is, bro, get heavy, go huge, scream, yell. That's one thing too. I used to scream through my workouts. Now I'm like that Bruce Lee style, man. I'm calm. I learned how to breathe for the first time ever. And every movement we do, I give a breathing strategy, because what that does, it gets you in the flow state. You can work harder for longer, et cetera, right? But you don't have to. I end the workouts now, I don't feel as oxygen wasted. You know what I'm talking about? When you're dying through a workout and you can't breathe, yeah, you feel the afterburn, but you don't recover. So there's so many. What I encourage you, if you're getting older, you got to go with the mind. You got to go with the mindset of, I'm going to use my wisdom to get more out of my body than ever before. And don't focus on what you can't do anymore. Focus on the fact that, you don't have to kill your ego. You want to keep it around just in case something important comes up, right? But on a daily basis, you got to be using your brain. Brain gains really are where you can unlock things you never thought before with your fitness in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, right? It's just intelligence. Totally. You're doing things that are not wearing your body down. In fact, they're adding to your longevity. And that's keep doing the work you're doing, man, because that's what's going to keep a lot of men and women over 40 in the game.
Yeah, for sure. The funny you just said about the making lightweight feel heavy, because that was one of the programs I did with my buddy. But tomorrow I'll be launching someone asked me if I could do one workout with 25 pounds. So I just took 25-pound dumbbells and I shot it, and it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. And I said, you're going to see how heavy and how much we can get out of Jesus. What I believe they're either 20 or 25. I can't remember which one I got. It was like a couple weeks ago, but it was rough. It was tough, and it's a follow along. And I don't care if people are like, "Oh, Funk's only using 25s." Yeah, well, but the great thing is that when people look at the workouts on YouTube, they'll watch it first, right, and then they'll do it. Specifically, if you have a good base of people, are like, "Okay, I'm going to do that workout because I'm going to get results." Just like you said, sometimes the entertainment that you bring is going to be being you, because you're extremely entertaining but you're knowledgeable, so people will listen, and they're just doing the exercise. So all they want to hear is your cues, right? They're not watching you while they're doing the exercise. They're listening for you while you're doing the exercise. And you already know that for sure. But
well, what's funny, man? People. So to me, it's like true skill is being able to take someone who's advanced and break them with a pair of 25-pound dumbbells, right? And you can say, well, Funk's only using 25. So no, Funk looks like that, and he's only using 25s. That's to me impressive. I don't, you don't need 100-pound dumbbells to look a certain way. And again, that's because you have a knowledge of the body. And that's where I think we have to educate people. Don't be impressed by the absolutes, be impressed by the skills. And that's really, because again, it's, by the way, 135 and 315 from the side, they look the same.
I love it.
It's the same weight from the side, right? So, that's really what impresses me. And again, like what people are not willing to do is squeeze out, is milk movements for everything they're worth and squeeze out more range of motion. And I'm telling you, man, like working on your scapula, right? Getting your scapula moving. They're not like sexy movements, right? Straight arm scapular shrugs and stuff like that. But what it unlocks for your pull-ups and your push-ups and your dips, and how all the shoulder pain goes away. And then like 10 reps done with a little bit more range of motion every rep, gains.
Totally.
Right. And so there's so many ways to progress, and that's what we have to educate people on. And we're still fighting the load focused people, but and again, I don't mean to, and like we don't use any barbells, because again, like I just shared last week, this poor kid was doing a clean and jerk, and the bar landed right in his neck because it was too heavy. And barbells aren't inherently dangerous. Again, I know what I want to say, but I have to be a little bit politically correct.
No, not here. You can't. You can do whatever. Well, listen, this is my show. You can do whatever
it's stupid.
You want.
It's just stupid, right? Anytime I've gotten hurt in the gym, it's been barbell related. And when things go wrong with barbells, it's catastrophic.
Totally.
No one's going to break their neck doing dumbbell push presses, but barbells, man, like the juice is not worth the squeeze. The risk is not worth the reward. And yes, there's no way to get as big and strong as you can with a barbell, but man, it ends up really messing up your symmetry and balance. And it breaks your body down, especially the stuff where you're putting it seems so like obvious. If I put really heavy loads onto my spine, that's probably not good for my spine long-term. Like, why would you invest so much in a barbell deadlift when you can do a pull-up and actually decompress your spine, mobilize your body at extreme joint angles? And the pull-up also keeps you accountable with your body weight, because if you get too chubby, pull-ups get really tough. I never do pull-ups after a cheat meal.
No, I love these nuggets.
Unless I want to do heavy reps.
Exactly. Oh man, this is amazing. And I think it's not, I also don't fault people in general. Men, like you said, we want to hang on to our egos, and we don't know any different. Like, there isn't information out there for men. Like, there's very little out there still. And so, if I'm 40 years old, I'm going to first, and I'm just getting back into the gym. First, I'm just going to go back to what I used to do, because that's all I know. Right. From when I was 20, 30, and when I was jacked when I was 20, or when I was, on my high school football team, Polk High, just like, Married with Children. What I can't remember his name, Al Bundy, Polk High. Because we like to hang on to who we used to be, right? We like to hang on to that. We don't want to let go of that. So obviously that's some of the reasoning behind it. So yeah, I think the education's great. And so after the cert, after the workout Muse, after the Spartacus challenge, you moved into men's health. And that was really huge. For me, it was huge because, again, you're my Yoda. You're the man who taught me things. So seeing you there and then seeing you shine with metabolic training was huge for me, man. It was like, yes, it's out there. So how did that transition happen? And what was that all about?
Well, I created a company called StreamFit in 20. So it was actually one of the first streaming fitness, like everything's streaming now. But in 2012, towards end of 2011, actually, I raised money and did this startup, this called StreamFit. So streaming workouts, and I was a little bit too early. So I have been a step ahead, but timing is everything. So I was just too early. I didn't raise enough money, and the company ended up just kind of dissolving the company, but it had opened up the doors to bring that style to men's health. And I did 2 years there. The first year, man, it was incredible. Like, it was basically like, you're in a dungeon and you're training for this opportunity for like a decade. And then finally you get to unleash yourself on the biggest men's platform. Right. And we had one video get 48 million views on Facebook in 24 hours. It added 1 million people to the Men's Health Facebook page. You can do the math on what that did monetarily for them. Totally. And but then right before the second year started, they changed leadership and they brought someone in who wanted to make fitness a smaller part of what they did. They wanted to focus on food and fashion more, and they took the brand in the wrong direction. That's my belief. And so I ended up leaving and going on my own, but I thought I could do just as well on my own. Man, it's been tough to go from being seen by that many people and then to have to because, not only about 5 to 10% of people at most will come over with you.
Right.
So, and part of me is like, I wish I never went, because it gave me such false expectations of what I could get from my content. And I gave them such good content.
Oh my God.
And they own it. It's like when Michael Jackson got the rights to the Beatles album. It's like what it feels like as a creator. But I got to just go back to the basics and remake it. And now I can actually make the content better because I'm better at what I do. I just have to find that motivation again, right? Because the motivation then was like millions will see it.
Totally.
And now it's like, well, no, maybe hopefully 1,000 people will see it. I mean, I do better on Instagram, but like a good, I try to get at least 1,000 people to watch a YouTube video. That's what I'm fighting for now. But I believe that I'm being humbled now because my ego got out of control. I lost myself.
Yeah. That's not a shocker, specifically in the times. Like maybe if it happened now, it would be different because you're a little bit older, right? So you may have a different perspective, but then, yeah, I mean, it's huge from, like you said, you're in the, you're putting in the work because that's right. I forgot. So I have Stream Fit here and I actually have this little,
Hey, this is BJ Gaddour, CEO and fitness director for Stream Fit.
Remember that, buddy? Do you remember that, buddy? Because that was you. And like I said, you were always one step ahead. You had that in 2012, and I had that. I joined it. I was amazing. It was the perfect platform. And then you moved on to Men's Health, which was great. And I mean, you did some the Meta Shred series, like the Shred series, I guess, is what you were probably known for, right? Like your Shred series was huge. Again, just like incredible content, incredible workouts. And how long were you with Men's Health? Because to me, it seemed like you're with them for 10 years.
I consulted for 7, and I was their fitness director for 2 years. And I was the digital fitness director. I kind of make that clear because the print was going in a different direction than digital. Like I really was brought there to build their digital presence. Yeah. I blew up their Instagram. Like they had maybe 100,000 Instagram followers when I came. When I left, they had over 1 million. I really I built up their channels on social media. That was really what I was designed there to come and help them with. And, it did help me build my following, but again, I don't want to be ungrateful. It's just, I almost wish I just would have stayed the organic growth route because it's more sustainable. You don't have to deal with these huge drop-offs, right? But I learned a lot, and honestly, man, I was ready from a skill standpoint for the job. I wasn't ready from an emotional, psychological standpoint. The level of criticism you get, people making fun of how you look or how you speak or whatever. That's what it made me hate people.
Right.
And it made me go really kind of like I'm already introverted naturally, but it made me really just kind of become a recluse. Wow. And but I'm not whining, complaining. I got a big opportunity there, but I'm finally ready for it mentally now. Totally. But that's long gone. So you never know, man. You got to take shots. And now, when people make fun of me, I just laugh about it. I committed. It's been over a year since I've had any negative interactions with people online. So you can insult me, you can say whatever. I'm not. By the way, don't test me on it. But that's one of the biggest things. I don't want to bring any bad vibes anymore. I don't want to let people take me to a negative place. And if you don't like the content, you don't like me, nothing I can do about it.
Right.
And hopefully I can try to bring humor to it and make you become a fan. If not, then it just is what it is. Mm-hmm. But that was the biggest challenge there, is just dealing with the criticism, because it's at that level, man. It just comes with the territory. And a lot of us get into this because of insecurity, right? We were overweight, or we had injuries, or we don't like the way we look. And all it did was just take all those insecurities and bring them up. And people will find that, by the way, people online are experts at uncovering your weaknesses and knowing which buttons to push. So, there are definitely pros and cons to being an online creator, but my skin, I think, is finally thick enough for it. I just wish it was thick enough when I was at Men's Health.
Yeah. And I think, but that's all a growing process, right? Like you're learning, and it's not whining. Like whenever you're giving us the truth. Like it's not about whining and, oh, I'm not grateful. You're great. I know you're grateful. Everyone knows you're grateful, but it's the truth. People have to know. It's not freaking everything that they think it is. You're on covers, you're doing this and that. Like Clark Bartram is a very good friend of mine. I don't know if you know Clark Bartram, but he's on the cover of a gajillion magazines. He was someone who was, ESPN. He did the beach thing with Kia, I think, or whatever her name is, Kiana Fit. Like, and
Flex Appeal, Kiana Flex Appeal.
Yeah, Clark was the white guy that was with her, and then he had his own ESPN show, and then he's been on covers everywhere. And he's like the black. I am the black Clark, and he's the white Funk Roberts. We kind of vibe off each other because, but the point is, like, same thing. Like, you get thrown into this, limelight, and there's a lot to take. But the thing I learned about 4 years ago is you want to focus on the people who love you, right? So if someone writes anything that, like, no one really writes anything negative on my YouTube channel anymore, just because everyone else will just destroy them, because I never ever do anything to the people who say negative things, because if someone likes you and they say great workout BJ or great workout Funk, you're amazing, and here I am spending time with the guy who said you're a fucking piece of shit, and now we're going 10 deep. It's like, hey man, what about me? I love you, and you're giving that guy who hates you, like, yeah. But I always, like, again, I used to get some way back in the day, and I just would just ignore them. I would literally ignore them, and I would talk to everybody else, and then everyone else would just stomp. Everyone else would stomp, and then it just becomes, oh, well, I don't want to. If I post there, I'm just gonna get killed by everyone else. I'm not even gonna push the button on the guy I want to push the button. I'm getting destroyed by everybody else. And now it doesn't matter what workout I put out, it's only positive, because they know if you say something, the Funk Army is gonna take you down.
Honestly, man, you bring up an excellent point, because it's all about where you find motivation. And if you come from a background, I grew up in a really tough home in terms of the way my dad treated me and treated my mom, and, a lot of criticism and mental, physical abuse and stuff like that. So, and then I got made fun of a lot because I was fat, and I also went to, like, this rich kid school on scholarship. So there was a lot of classism, and I'm half Arab, so I had to deal with that. And my father's Muslim, and that wasn't, still not like, no, as a Muslim, but, like 80s and 90s, man, really tough. And so I found all motivation from negative places. Like, I want to show him, I want to prove to them, versus, like, so when here's an example. I made a video for Men's Health, and it was it was a squat tip. And someone commented, someone skipped leg day. Now, they don't know I have the history of all these knee injuries, and they don't know the background of the context, but they said someone skipped leg day, and 5,000 people liked it. And I was crushed. Right. So crushed, in fact, that I committed 5 years to my legs, and my legs got so built that they actually became too big for my body. And I developed we have a short shorts line, a fashion line off short shorts now, because of people asking, where do you get those shorts? Because my legs look so good in the shorts. Right. So that's an example of how extreme you can take it from a negative place. But I would get positive feedback, and I would just ignore it. Like, I don't need that. Yeah. Of course it's great. You don't have to tell, of course it's great. I made it. But so all I would focus on is the one person who says something negative. And that's what I've had to switch away from, because, it's kind of the Michael Jordan motivation, right? Like, you say, I can't do it, I'm going to do it. Right. That's good and all. But as you get older, you realize it's just not important. And you're doing things for the wrong reason. Right. Right. And then in creation, it's important. Like, you look at Michael Jordan as, like, the ultimate sports legend, alpha male, but, like, his teammates don't like him. No, exactly. And he's kind of isolated now because of the cost of being the greatest, because of all the negative motivation he used. So there are costs to being fueled by negativity. And when you create things, if negativity is in that like primordial ooze in the creation process, it bleeds into the programming. So coming from a place of love, joy, and hate is the best way to do it. And that's where I try to find my way moving forward, because I don't like operating out of cynicism, hate, and negativity. It puts me in like, I get like incredibly productive, but I'm a miserable person. So dude, it's a constant battle of finding that, but I'm glad you're there because yeah, man, like I don't know how many YouTube videos I posted, but every one of them has had over 90% likes. But all I focused on was the 10% or less that didn't like it. And it's a really bad place to be.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and you know what? I don't take myself serious. I'm 53 years old. And like I said, I'm in recovery still, because I'm going to be in recovery for the rest of my life. Because when you're an addict, you're just in recovery. Like, you're clean for 7 years, but you're still, in recovery. No biggie. And I don't care. And I tell people this: the strongest person in the room is the person that has nothing to hide. Like, I don't hide shit, because that way, yeah, I already told you I'm like that. Well, like my calves are like that. Yeah. Give me something else that no one else knows, right? So that takes the power away from other people. And the other thing too is I have had people say something and I'd be like, you know what? They're totally right. Actually, in that little space there, it probably does look like. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I should maybe do legs one day. And then that's it. It's just like, again, taking the power away from what they want to hear. And it's like, oh, all right, well, that didn't do any good. And then the next workout, I do a fucking killer leg workout with heavy fucking weights. And I show, and then so the other people can see, oh, what the hell was that other person talking about? Which they won't even remember anyway, because they're not focusing on that one person's, you know what I mean? Like it's I've learned that. It's just like, who cares, man? And you know what? You're probably right. At that point where you watched it, it probably looked like I wasn't training legs. Like, you know what? Good on you. But the next workout, I'm coming hard. Okay. I'm coming hard. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to make it a good workout. I'm going to make it a great leg workout. I'm going to, and I'm not even going to say anything about the comment. I'm just going to do the workout. And then there you go. Move on. Next up.
Yeah. That's how it's done. Yeah, you can get motivated by it. And again, here's the thing about feedback. I guess I'm reading this book by, John Berardi, Precision Nutrition.
Yes, of course. Yes.
He has an excellent book called Game Changers or Change Makers. And one of the things he talks about is, when he was young, he looked at feedback as always a negative, like unsolicited feedback in particular, like spare me. But as he evolved and the way he really grew his business, is he looked at feedback as always an opportunity for growth.
Yes,
so
100%.
It's like, so instead of like being like, this guy hates me, or he's making fun of my clothes or my whatever, I'm like, I'm interesting that I'm wondering why he says this. What am I giving off an energy that makes him feel the need to do this? Or, again, like, it's an opportunity for growth. And that's how you have to start looking at feedback. Even if it's unskillfully delivered, it's still like an opportunity to learn more about the people that are watching. Yeah. Why, this is how he's interpreting this. Right. I don't know why, but it's you got to look at it that way. And because if you look at it as like fighting, you can't win online fights. It's impossible.
Yeah. The internet always wins.
It's a scorched earth campaign, right? And you're always going to be punching down. So it's like, exactly. That's the whole thing about it. And people will never say that stuff to you in person. So that's just the reality of being online, and you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Totally, man. This has been incredible. If anyone's listening right now, just do BJ Gaddour Men's Health, and then you're gonna learn. You're gonna see like the quality of the way you teach, the quality of the workouts, the quality of how it's shot, everything. Like, I mean, it's incredible. I'm so happy that I had you on here, and I'm so happy everyone who is listening, guys in my membership, guys who know me now, they know that it's BJ Gaddour who literally 100% is why I'm here today, because everything that I do in regards to metabolic training, like you're the Godfather. Like somebody should be like writing an article about the Godfather of metabolic conditioning, because you are 100%. I'm just the lineage, so I'm happy about that. I'm the lineage. I'm like, you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot more to that you have that needs to be out there. A lot of quality workouts and quality and the results that men and women, I guess, but 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they're the ones that need it. And because I've seen the change in these guys' lives, I've seen not only the body, not only the health, but now no longer are they on prescription pills. No longer, are they depressed? They don't have prediabetes. Their relationship with their kids are better. Relationship with their wives are better. They're going back to school. Like it's literally like, they're actually peeling back the onion and getting back to the core of a man, like provide, protect, procreate. They're not getting blinded by the toxic masculinity. I still think there is toxic masculine men out there, yes, but that's a sliver of the millions out there who just need help. They just need someone to help them and say, okay, I'm going to put everything into BJ. BJ knows what he's doing. He lives it. He is the godfather of the training that all men in our, like, as we age, need, I think, and thrive for. And yeah, man, I mean, I think as you reach 40 in 2 days, I think the next door of your decade is opening up with greatness, man. 100% greatness. And I'm here to freaking like toot your horn, buddy. Like toot, you know what I mean? Not the horn in the shorts. Not the horn in the shorts, but the
yeah, no, it's it means a lot, man. It really does. Like, honestly, it's people say things like, "Oh, you've impacted me," and I guess I've never really I kind of thought of it as just words, but I guess now more and more it means more to me than ever, because that's the impact, the hockey assist, right? You can share information and someone can run with it and impact even more people. Yeah. That was my whole vision with this initially. I kind of lost focus on that, and what I'm trying to do now is just. Because YouTube is evergreen content, it lives forever, right? Like something on Instagram will die the next day. Yeah. I'm really trying at my YouTube channel. It's BJ Gaddour, youtube.com/BJ Gaddour. I'm just trying to like leave a legacy there of stuff that will be there when I'm long gone, and make it as much about physical education. I have all my classic workouts are on there, but I'm really trying to take that to the next level, because I wish I would have focused on it more. I had different channels, right? I had the workout news channel, Stream Fit channel. Then I went to Men's Health and I made all the content for their channel. And I never had my own channel. And then I left, and then when people were like, I'll just get all your stuff at Men's Health. Right. So it's my next challenge now. And I'm using you as inspiration, because obviously you definitely cracked the code over there.
Yeah, no, you have it. Like it's like, I'm excited because I want to. I mean, I watch your workouts. Like I still, when you have I'm on the daily beat, the dailybj.com. I get that, so I get the workouts, and like all. There was one workout you did with your wife. Fuck, it's still incredible. I've tried to kind of like figure out a way to design it, but only it's a workout you can only design. But it was freaking hard because there wasn't a rest period. The rest period was an active rest, but it wasn't. But it was exact. It's so funny you started this whole conversation with stacking, because that's what you did in that workout. You actually stacked the movements, and there was no rest in between, which I usually do the rest in between. But there was no rest in between. It was active, but you stacked, and it was just like, this is great, but I can't. That's a BJ thing. That's not. I can't. There's no. That's and those are the type of workouts that like. Everyone needs to see the stuff in Workout Muse, the workouts you used to put in Workout Muse, the design, the Stream Fit. Like, you listen, it's not I wish I would have done that. You did it, it works. So now it's about repackaging it, making it better, and then kicking it off again for sure. 100%. I'm here for you, man. Like I'm here to freaking help and motivate and do whatever I can along the way, because I know the power of what you do. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Where can people find you? Slowly, where every single.
My main website, which has links to pretty much everything, is bjgaddour.com, BJGADDOUR. And I think the best place to access my content, if you're new to me, is just youtube.com/BJ Gaddour. I have a year's worth of the pandemic follow-along workouts. I have instructional workouts. I do deep dives on various movements and topics. And I'm really trying to bring, I really want to build that channel because again, I believe in long form content. And there's also now you can do short form content too. So it's kind of, I find YouTube to be the best place now to really reach people and educate and empower them.
Amazing, man. Well, thanks so much. I'll have all the links available. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And I really and truly so that everyone can hear that, like, where this is all coming from, where because again, like I always get people saying, oh man, the way we work out together. When I do, like I do conferences and I teach trainers, about metabolic conditioning and all of that and that sort of thing. And it's just your name always pops up. Like it's on one of the first slides. It's like, I'm just letting you know, this is where I got all this from. And so it's great. It's amazing.
Dude, I appreciate it. Again,
I appreciate you, man, so much.
Congratulations on all your success. You're doing great work. And hopefully down the road too. I mean, if you're ever I'm based in kind of the Palm Springs, California area. If you're ever in the area, we should get together and who knows, maybe there's a collaboration in the future too.
Good job. I'm glad you said that. I'm very glad you said that. All right, brother. Take care.
Take care, man.